Bryant is an injured participant of the rebooked CrossFit Games. We interview him to find out more.
I try to take part every year because I mean it's very challenging. It's a challenging environment. You have an opportunity to time yourself or see how many reps you can get. So it's like a really good opportunity to try to push yourself and see if you can actually beat your old records from the previous year.
So you took part this year as well?
Yeah, I took part this year as well. Yeah, I started out in the qualifying rounds this year. Yeah, I did.
So you did it too?
No, I actually stopped doing it because of my injuries. I've had repeated injuries from CrossFit, so I dropped out of the rounds because of my injuries.
Were there other sports related injuries?
I did. I had when I was younger, I had injured myself playing American football. I had sprained my wrist playing basketball. I had sprained actually both my ankles doing track and running.
Is the instructor's role when it comes to this?
Instructors' role, they need to make sure that the people who are doing the workouts and the lifts, that they understand the form, that they have the form correctly. So usually before every class period, the instructor will go over the form and they will spot and identify mistakes that people are making. And then during the workout, it's also important for the instructor to make sure that the people, when they're doing the lifts, that they maintain consistent form and proper form. Working out. Well, I find CrossFit is a very intense workout. It's also the setting is a very motivational setting because there's a coach, you have other people doing it with you, so there's a lot of camaraderie. So for me, staying fit and exercising, it's healthy mentally, it's healthy physically, and I find that CrossFit challenges me more than other forms of exercise do. So for that reason, I continue with CrossFit, but I just try to modify the workout and just try to make sure that I know my own limits. And I'm a little bit smarter about that than I used to. I used to be quite much maybe more aggressive and took a little bit more risks, and now I don't do that as much because of my injuries.
Okay, so what do you think is the most important in terms of keeping a healthy body?
Actually, interestingly, I think the diet is actually probably one of the most important things. Diet and exercise. You can't out-train a bad diet, so they really kind of have to work hand in hand. I think that consistency, so that means consistency in dieting, consistency in your workout program. You can't really have stints. You can't be healthy for 1 week and then unhealthy 1 week. You can't work out for 1 week and then don't work out for the second week. And there's been times when I've been really busy at work and I've been forced to not take part in the CrossFit or to exercise as much, and I can tell that my physical fitness declines and decreases. So I've noticed that in order to keep that, maintain that, sustain it, I have to do it consistently. And so I try to make sure that's a priority now. For me,
What's of utmost importance?
I think that I think that you should, again, I think you should know your own limits in terms of safety. You should, like, there are certain exercises or movements that are maybe more difficult for me because of maybe I don't have the mobility because of past injuries. So I will oftentimes opt out of that specific lift, or I will just kind of make sure that I'm not pushing myself too hard, so I don't put the weight on too much. I make sure that I don't try to stretch my body too much. So I think that's very, very important because it's very easy to sustain injuries. CrossFit often has, you get very, very tired because you do repeated sets and they're often very heavy. And so the first thing that seems to kind of fall apart is the form. When your technique falls apart, there's an opportunity, it opens the opportunity for you to injure yourself. So I think that's really important that people need to know their own limits